Through a variety of social, economic, and cultural mechanisms, America subtly perpetuates the system of disfavor for Black people. Nothing new to see there. What oftentimes goes unnoticed, though, is the other programming that just might be even more dangerous than that one. In Black hood culture, seemingly exclusively, there's this idea that one can't visit or show up in a certain neighborhood or city without first notifying or getting approval from specific locals. If you just happen to not be Black, this concept might not be familiar. Checking in. Now, as I collected, this may be some kind of way for those locals to feel validated in protecting their neighborhood, protecting their territory. Or think about this, maybe you've seen a Black woman who is unmistakably Black, but somehow has blonde hair, uncomfortably unnatural contact lenses, and way too light foundational makeup on her face. That's quite the drastic effort to remove, cover up, or hide one's natural features, I would think. These things may seem trivial on the surface. Maybe the checking in thing don't gotta be that serious. Maybe it's just a way to show support or recognition. Maybe those women I mentioned just like the idea of variety. Me being who I am, looking a little bit deeper though, investigating where this mentality may have come from or why it even exists or how it would even evolve, I can see how it would be damaging to a people. But recognizing the history in American culture, I can also see how the implementation of self-hate amongst Black people would be intentional. Let me tell you how I fell for it. Real quick, for historical context, during slavery and colonial periods, Black individuals were often subjected to extreme dehumanization and brutal treatment, which fostered feelings of inferiority and self-hate. Post-slavery, Jim Crow laws and segregation reinforced racial hierarchies, perpetuating the belief that Black people were inherently inferior. Some of the psychological, cultural, social, and economic impacts of this can include internalized racism amongst Black people, where individuals accept the negative stereotypes about their own race. Identity struggles, where individuals may feel ashamed of their racial background or culture. Skewed beauty standards came about. The Eurocentric beauty standards often marginalized African features, leading some Black individuals to adopt measures like skin bleaching or hair straightening just to conform. Language and behavioral changes.
Super soulful. Cool, thanks, Lau. Yeah, it just came to me, so I went with it.
There can be a tendency to adopt mannerisms, speech patterns, and behaviors perceived as whiter, with the hopes to gain social acceptance or avoid discrimination or mistreatment. Also, discrimination within the community. Colorism, a form of discrimination favoring lighter skin, can be a part of divisions within the Black community.
Not only did she get rid of her tan, she also got rid of her accent.
The reach for economic opportunities. So internalized racism can affect career aspirations and opportunities, with some feeling unworthy of success. So enter here is where I made my mistake. Since leaving the US, I have been happier than I have ever been. I truly believe that I have found my happiness. I found my peace. In the beginning of this journey here, I found myself unconsciously doing some things, acting and thinking in ways that suggested I myself had been manipulated or compromised a little bit. I'm not the only Black person in Europe. Definitely not the first. By far. But in the beginning of me being here, oftentimes when I saw another person of color, my immediate thought would be, well, what are you doing here? As if to say, I've already claimed this place. A good Black dude is already here. Don't mess this up for me. Wow. Also, when I would see someone of color who may not be doing so well in life, if you know what I mean, I would distance myself from that person so that no one would associate me with them. And I never did that to non-Black people who looked like they were down on their luck. Thinking back, that is a completely insane mentality. The awakening came one day when I had overheard and witnessed another brother who just happened to be African asking for directions in English. This was in the Bavarian region of Germany, here where I live, and I guess he didn't know Deutsch yet. But the brother was trying to get the attention of multiple people, and everyone kept ignoring him, even other Black people, which ironically happened to be the one that yelled at him for him to not bother her. Well, not long after she had yelled at him, a German guy, a white guy, stepped up to him and asked, "How can I help?" And then they quickly kind of sorted things out and parted ways. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Why the didn't I go help that guy? Why did I sit way over there and watch that man struggle? Why did it have to be a white guy to have to show this brother compassion while I just simply sat back and watched. It was at that moment that I realized I was full on displaying hate for my own kind. I know what it feels like to not be given a chance. I know what it feels like to be ignored. I know what it feels like to be stereotyped, classed, judged. Out of anybody, I should have been the first person to go help that man. Even if I was no help at all to him, at least he would still know that he's not alone, that he's a person, that I see him. And for about 60 seconds following all of this, I didn't even like who I was in that moment. So I changed. From that point forward, I don't see other people of color here as competition or as somehow being in my way. We're all trying our best. What better way to stay positive than to embrace each other? So how this ties all together is, I think that mindset I had stemmed from my time in the US, where it's programmed into the common folk that we are always out to hurt someone or ruin something good. So unbeknownst to myself at the time, this is something I needed to cleanse myself of. America's ideas of who and what Black people should be and what we actually are. There's something called the doll test, and though repeated more recently, initially it was conducted in the 1940s with small children. What they would do is ask children simple questions like, out of these two dolls, a darker skin tone doll and a lighter skin tone doll, which doll do you think is the bad doll or the good doll? And out of the two choices, the children would almost unanimously say that the darker one was the bad doll. Even the Black children. In Hollywood, it's documented that darker-skinned people are sometimes passed on opportunities in favor of lighter-skinned people. It's even believed that some celebs buy into this hardcore and make alterations to their appearance just to attempt to increase their acceptance. Sammy Sosa, Lil' Kim, and Michael Jordan come to mind right now. I don't think we see this crisis anywhere else in the world epidemically. I bring this up because of what I said in the beginning of the video. In America, this indoctrination, this programming, has the potential to be way more dangerous than the hate that is already displayed. What better way to get your work done than to have the people you want hurt themselves? Yeah, let them erase everything about themselves from society. I'm glad I was able to open my eyes to this, and quickly. I don't have a sensitivity for some people who would probably prefer to have me gone anyway. I shouldn't have a sensitivity for people that look like me and going through the same struggles as me, when they're most likely to be the ones to accept me and welcome me. We do have some work to do. We got a long way to go in strengthening ourselves as a solid people. I just hope we can wake up to the nonsense that's making our journey harder.
Like you're on my mind tonight. Oh yeah.
So you're just gonna have to trust me when I say that it comes down to mindset, and after that point, it's just strictly just sticking to your guns and putting in the work and making it happen, because I promise you, if I can, you can. I promise you.